Aidan Hutchinson is here. He's with Gatorade. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Are you a Vegas guy? I'm asking everybody. Are you a Vegas guy?
I just gambled for the first time yesterday and lost some money, so I would say no. But you can do about 3 days of Vegas and get away with it.
Now, wait a second. This is your first gambling experience ever. Take me through it.
Just playing a little craps for the first time with my marketing agent. Lost a lot of money playing roulette. I was just hammering black all over again.
Okay.
So I'll be back at it tonight, though.
Do you want to get better? Is this a point of improvement for you, or are you just you're good?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Video games and gambling are the two things where I'm like, if I was a little bit better, my life would be ruined. These things.
I know, right?
I'll just stop after an hour doing both, and I could actually have a productive life.
100%.
That's how I view that.
I agree.
When you're telling your grandchildren about this season and how special it was to the city of Detroit, what's the one moment that you're going to talk about?
I think just how we battled adversity. I thought we did it very well, and we did some historic things. We climbed mountains, many mountains people didn't think we could climb.
Yep.
And won our first playoff game, won the divisional, and unfortunately, I feel like we should be in this Super Bowl game, but I feel like getting over this season and kind of moving on with the history and kind of getting all that noise out, I think for the future, it's going to set us up good.
I think I've known, any Midwestern city is like this, but Detroit in particular, and you know this, having grown up and knowing so much about the state, that was a Lions town ready to unleash itself, and the lean times maybe confused people a little bit about what kind of football town it was. When it started to come back, what was the game where you were just like, oh my God, this is what I knew Detroit could be as a football town? Is there a game where you entered and were like, oh my God?
Yeah, I would say is that divisional game.
Yeah.
That was the loudest game I've ever heard in my life. And I think the decibels that we had in there were they were unreal. And you could feel it on defense, man. Every series, every drive, Ford Field. There's not too many people in there, but man, they get loud. And I felt the spirit of Detroit in that game.
That is so cool. Couple things about that or the playoff run that I want to dive into. First of all, this Niners team. If you're giving advice to the Chiefs on how to defend this Niners team with all their weapons, with Kyle Shanahan, where do you start?
I think defensively, you got to stop the run. Of
Yeah.
course, the Christian McCaffrey is their pillar of a run game, and in the first half, we did do that well against them, and I think that's why we're having a lot of success. And second half, they came in kind of just taking deep shots on us, and we couldn't really stop the momentum. But I feel like if you stop the run game, that kind of makes them more one-dimensional, and I think they definitely do better when they can run it, pass it, play action, mix in there. So I feel like that is priority number one for that defense.
Obviously, the big attention was on Dan Campbell and the fourth down stuff. I defended Dan Campbell, and I got tons of crap from Twitter user, Bears fans, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I felt, and I've talked to Dan about this, that first of all, I don't think it was analytics based. I think that he learned to be aggressive from Sean Payton, and he used to see how scared defenses would get, and he would go for it because he likes that kind of the fear you will instill when you go for it on fourth down. So I defended it for a bunch of reasons. In that locker room, the feeling after that game when everybody's criticizing the coach was what?
Yeah, it's definitely tough, but I feel like that's our identity, and I feel like if you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yep.
And we won a lot of games being aggressive like that.
Yep.
And that you're also you might lose a couple too, and just so happens in that time that we did lose a couple, and you got to live with that because again, that's just who we've been all year, and that's how he's called it all year. And when it works out, everyone's happy. When it doesn't work out, obviously people will be critical. So that's just the nature of this game.
Why should you bet with Caesars Sportsbook? 2 words, Caesars Rewards. Every bet brings you closer to the types of benefits only Caesars can offer. Hotel stays, VIP experiences, sports and concert tickets, and more. It's not just an app, it's an empire.
Your former college coach is now back in the NFL. I think that's going to be a roaring success just because I don't think people realize, Jim Harbaugh is the winningest active coach in football. Literally, that's his winning percentage because he was so good in San Francisco. This plays out how with Jim Harbaugh back in the NFL?
I think he's going to have a lot of success. I feel like the buy-in is going to be at an all-time high just with all his college success and a lot of the good things. I mean, everyone just says good things about him,
Yeah.
you know, when at Michigan when he's leaving. So I think he's going to have a lot of success, and I feel like the guys there are going to buy into his leadership, and it's definitely going to be different, but I think it'll be good for him.
What's the future of the Michigan program now? I mean, it just feels like it's just in such a good place, and the momentum is just rolling, and they're going to, not a lot of guys in the portal and stuff like that. That was a concern, like with Alabama. The future of that program is what?
I think they've kept a lot of the Michigan guys in their program, having Sharon be the head coach. Even our strength coach, they're bringing in-house people to kind of follow up these jobs. And I feel like that's really important, and that's why they're going to continue to have the success.
Jared Goff, obviously, you mentioned the divisional game. I'll always think about those chants of Jared Goff and how much the city rallied around him. His future, obviously, I think he wants to stay in Detroit. Everybody wants him to stay in Detroit. Is it pretty much universal? I mean, obviously the contract stuff is yet to be resolved, but Jared Goff's the guy?
Of course. I mean, it was ridiculous. Even when we were in San Fran, again, in the second quarter, the crowd was singing, Jared Goff, Jared. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, we're in the NFC Championship away, and we got the crowd cheering our quarterback's name. You're like, what? In what world,
Dude, they were chanting like Red Wings games.
Yes, it was ridiculous. Oh, yeah. And at Red Wings, dude, it's like the Detroit has just welcomed him and just took him in with open arms. Despite a lot of adversity at first, and now everyone's just bought in.
What's the one thing we don't know about Dan Campbell that I think would surprise people who follow football?
I think something a lot of people don't know is he grew up like a farm boy.
Yeah.
So whenever he's giving us all these speeches, they usually relate to some farm or to some horse or to some I don't know. I feel like he's just his upbringing, like he always talks about it. And he's just this country kid from Texas, and it's just I love his story.
So I called some of his old Texan end buddies and I was sharing that story with him, and it was he's like wrestle calves and stuff.
Yes, dude, he's nuts.
He's authentic on that. Can you give me an example of a speech he gave that involved farm animals?
Dude, I want to give you this horse story, but I forgot. Like, I got to remember it. I don't know if I can remember it right now. It was something with a horse. What was it? I'm not going to remember, but I knew I'm never going to forget that he gave this horse story and everybody was dying of laughter. But unfortunately, I do not have that.
I will come find you in Allen Park in August, and we will get the house story, the horse story. Flynn will come here. All right, we do something called Badasses. Most badass person you've ever been around football. Could be any level, doesn't matter. We know what the definition of football badass is.
Yeah.
You have the floor, Aidan Hutchinson. Who's your badass?
Oh God, all time.
All time. Just like
who I played with.
Yeah, guy or played against. But yeah.
Oh God, let me think. Oh shoot. Can I go like college?
Sure.
Okay. College, we had a fullback named Ben Mason. He's still in the league playing fullback, but if there's anybody who's like a badass, that guy would stick his head through a concrete wall for the University of Michigan. And like, I sit there, they're running their ISO plays over and over again. Where he's the lead blocker. And I'm like, that takes a different breed to do that over and over again.
I love that. We do something called one rep back. You get to relive any play of your career, get to do it over again, get to do it right. Doesn't matter what it is. Could be something small in high school. Could be someone in the NFC title game. Doesn't matter. You get to have one rep back. What is it, Aidan Hutchinson?
One rep back?
One rep back. You get to relive it, and you just get to do it over again.
I'd probably say that Kittle play in the NFC Championship, because I'm convinced to this day our helmets were stuck together. I couldn't see, and I was telling him that on the field, and we were joking about it so much on the field. But I had that one Kittle play in the NFC Championship that was actually really funny looking back on it. But yeah, that'd be my one play.
All right, Aidan Hutchinson will have the horse story at some point this summer. We will get it. Thanks so much. Oh, tell us what you're doing with Gatorade.
Oh yeah, right. Gatorade just launched Gatorade ID, which is their new and free membership platform. And you can visit Gatorade.com to customize your own bottle with Gatorade ID.
Love that.